Nightwing 106, Tom Taylor writing and Stephen Byrne on the art. So, shock to the system at the start of this issue a little bit because they hit us with a little bit of Rick Grayson, and I was not prepared for such a thing.
But you know what? I love that Tom Taylor knows this. So if he hits us with Rick Grayson, we know it's a time in Dick's life.
Yeah, we know what we know he knows what he's doing with this. Like when he's playing with this stuff.
Because I saw it, it said like another time in another life. I went, oh no.
Joe's so good about this though. So what this whole issue basically gets at is that the ship, which is the what did they call it again?
It's the Hold, right?
The Hold,
something.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So the Hold was something we encountered a few issues ago before the last arc, and it was like, oh, there's something here for Nightwing, and Dick had no idea why it was there or who put it there. So this idea that this was something that was for Nightwing, for Dick Grayson, and Rick said, that's not really for me, so I'm just going to put it into this bank for Nightwing should he ever come back. Although I have to admit, I don't think I realised that Dick doesn't remember his time as Rick.
I didn't either.
Because obviously Rick never remembered his time as Dick beforehand, but I didn't realise that the time as Rick was
vice versa. Yeah,
so that was a little surprising, but the issue does a good job of sort of telling us everyone who this character B is. At the start, is it Bea? I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's B.
It's just B. Who's this bartender that Rick was like? It was a regular character. She was there during Rick Grayson's time in the Nightwing book, which I didn't remember because I didn't read much of it because I hated it. But they do a good job of introducing her in this flashback at the start, which sets up this package, whatever it is, that's for Nightwing, and we see the old man who runs the place, the quartermaster, yes.
Yeah.
So that at the end, when we get to the cliffhanger and we see B again, we're like, oh, we know who that is. We have context for this. So I thought that was smart. So that stuff's good. Anyway, so present day, Nightwing is sleeping in a lot. Beast Boy is a dog and is playing with Haley on his bed.
It is so pure. I love it.
No one's happy about it except Beast Boy, of course. Well, I guess Haley's happy about it. Haley's
happy, yeah.
She's having a good time. But the big plot point this issue really is that Heartless, who is working with Zuko, goes after the Hold and kills the quartermaster and his guards. But they're very surprised to find when they go into this, this cavern at the beach, which is where we found the thing. And everyone will remember the big whale skeleton that led to the boat. When they go in, the boat's not there. It's empty. So someone moved the Hold. So they're very shocked by this. And Nightwing's also shocked by this because when he's at the crime scene afterwards and he's talking to Maggie Sawyer, he's like, hey, yeah, there's a big boat down there. And she's like, there's no boat. What are you talking about? Is there something you want to tell me, Nightwing? We get more details on this case to shed?
I love how he goes, I don't know the big one, Commissioner, but the sailor was known as the quartermaster. And Sawyer goes, that's not a name, right? She deals with people called Superman and Nightwing, and she's going to pick it, the quartermaster. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I just don't want to gloss over it too much, but I did enjoy the scene where it's Heartless versus Quartermaster, just because I like Quartermaster to be like, yeah, we know you're stuck in the streets of Bloodhaven. We're aware of what's going on. But of course, Heartless whips out his heart extraction gun thing, which is still a wonderful, very horrific thing. So Nightwing gets on his bike. He chases down the ambulance that was taking the quartermaster's body because Oracle informs him that those people were actually employed by the health system. This is something shady. So Nightwing chases down the ambulance, and there's a bit of an action sequence here. Nightwing ends up riding his bike up over a car, so we get a nice big full page spread of him flying through the air. But he gets to the ambulance and beats up the guys, and then there's a surprise when he realizes the ambulance, despite the fact that he never, felt the truck stop. Right. Suddenly, the ambulance is on a boat. It's not the Hold. It's not the old ship. It's just some ship.
It's on another boat, and because Oracle tells him, he's like, she says, I don't suppose that the ambulance is also a hovercraft because the GPS is now in the harbor. So that's where he comes out, and they're on this barge boat. Not even a barge. It's more like a commercial fisher.
Yeah, it's not like a super fancy boat, but he gets out, and there's a bunch of people with guns and stuff, and they're like, "Don't move," and someone says, "I Captain Blood," and he's like, "Captain Blood," and then that's when Bay shows up. She's the captain of this ship. She's got like a pirate belt on, so I assume that they're the ones who have moved the hold somewhere, and that these ambulance drivers that were stealing the body weren't bad guys per se. They were just part of this group who were retrieving his body. Yeah, because they're going to go bury him at sea or something. I don't know.
I love this kind of little secret society thing that exists in comics where it's totally plausible. There's this whole society of pirate sailors operating underneath the nose of the superheroes, because it's fun, and Tom Taylor knows that. So, even though normally when you get Nightwing and Batman and these type of characters that are kind of street level, I like when it can get a little bit whimsical like this. So, having Nightwing as a pirate for the next couple issues, I'm here for.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay. I like Quartermaster. I like the idea of the secret bank that people use. The actual pirate imagery and stuff, and B having a pirate belt and sword, I'm just kind of like, whatever. I'm not a whimsy fan like you are. Yeah. Whimsy's not my thing. But I don't hate it by any means, and I am interested in what's in the box, as Nightwing puts it. What's in the box?
Yeah. Also, when Quartermaster faces down Heartless, he calls him a stupid, spoiled boy. So it's almost as if Quartermaster even knows. Right?
Yeah, I wonder if it's implying that he knows more, or if is it just a case of he's so good at reading people that he's like, no, you're a spoiled brat. Like, whoever you are, you're a spoiled rich kid.
Well, either way, it just shows that he's been around for a while, right?
Yeah.
That not maybe like there's like magical life thing, but he's seen a lot in his role as a quartermaster, whether he knows that Heartless is who he is, or like you said, he's just been around and can read people better. But yeah, I like that part too, and this also building the mythology of Bloodhaven, which, if I remember my DC history right, it started off as a whaling town. So the idea that you had the whale bones with the hold, right. and now you have Captain Blood, or Blood.
I said Blood because I say Bloodhaven, but I don't know.
But does it have the umlauts? It does have the umlauts. So yeah, it would be Blood. So just the whole idea,
So it sounds weird to say on its own, Blood, just Blood.
Yeah, right.
Blood.
But yeah, again, it's very silly and whimsical, and I like this kind of stuff. But also, I feel like Tom Taylor has a thing, because I feel there's something similar in Suicide Squad, or maybe that was just the what was the name of the Revolutionaries? They had a boat too that they went around. I don't remember
the name of it, but yeah, they were on a boat for a while.
They were going around too, so I don't know. Maybe he's just got a thing for boats, like Hawkeye. He does boats.
Yeah, and then there's a backup story, and this is the first part of a 3-part backup story, which is Dick is training with Cass, which is fun enough, but it turns out to be, this is more about Dick teaching her how to cook. So he's teaching Cass how to bake pancakes, and there's some nefarious figure who looks like he's right out of the 1930s with his pencil mustache and hat. If I didn't know better, I'd have said this is Matches Malone. Watching from the distance, but he's surveying the place, and he's talking about this Dick Grayson. Like, basically, he's talking about how Dick's got a lot of money, but he's living with all the poor people still, and how whatever group he represents is looking to deal with them. And we see this trio of guys who are very similarly dressed. They've all got the mustaches, they've all got sunglasses, they've all got leather jackets. Like, honestly, if you said that they were all going out to a gay bar after this, I wouldn't argue against you. Do you know that scene in Police Academy when they go to the gay bar, the Blue Oyster, and they all start dancing? Yep. These guys look, they're all out of that scene.
Yep. Definitely see that wouldn't be written in the 2020s now. That is a relic of the 80s. Yeah.
And they've got lots and lots of stuffed bears, and they refer to themselves as the Three Bears. So I guess the other guy in the car who's surveying Dick's place, or the Batgirl's place, is just a hired PI. But he's got such a similar style to these guys that I feel like they're part of the same group. But whatever.
Yeah. I read this late, so I don't remember a lot of it. But I remember the cooking part of it. Yeah, man, their smiles are very creepy on top of it too. I don't know if that's just the art or if that's the intent.
Yeah, I like the art kinda, but it definitely has like a every smile looks like they're up to something sinister kind of vibe. It's kind of weird. But Steph arrives from patrolling and comes in and is all excited to try these pancakes. So Dick, Steph, and Cass are hanging around having pancakes. Haley's having the burn pancakes, although she's not actually eating them because they look horrible. And probably the best laugh of the whole issue is that Steph goes to shut the blinds, and the PI with the big glasses and the mustache is watching through his binoculars, and he sees Steph at the window shutting the blinds, and he says, "How many broads is this guy dating?" And throws his binoculars in the back seat and drives off. And that gave me a good chuckle. Because obviously he's just here hanging out with the other Batgirls. But oh dear. Honestly, as far as backups go, this I thought this was a perfect little bit of just silly fun. Like I think it just worked on its own as a fun little thing. I obviously like seeing Steph and Cass. Notably, it's written by Michael Conrad, who was one of the two writers on the Batgirls book. So I think that's probably an intentional thing. Serge Acuna is the artist. Here. So, and I do enjoy the art overall. I think it's got a good overall look to it, and I think the way he draws faces is really good for the villains, but maybe not as good. Like Dick always looks like he's plotting something. Like every time he smiles in this backup, he looks like he's plotting to like steal someone's dog or something. I don't know.
For sure.
But it's a bad. I thought it was a fun little backup. I'm down for more.
I like when we get Dick working with the Batgirls, right? Like, because we always get him and Barbara, but the fact that there's two other Batgirls and that whole relationship between, Nightwing and Robin and all that type of stuff, it really makes it feel like a Bat family.
Yeah,
still,
if Damien's his little brother, it makes sense that you would maybe treat Cass like a little sister. There's logic to that. I think I do like when backups are a bit more just fun like this, because it's like, okay, the main story should probably be the more serious one with the more big stakes. So if you're going to do like a little slice of life thing in the backup, that's fine by me. But I did enjoy that. So what are you rating Nightwing 104 overall, or 106 sorry overall?
I will give it, because we're gonna factor in the backup, which was fine, I'll give this a 7.5.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just go with a straight 7 on this one. I enjoyed both the main story and the backup, without any of them ever like really going to like the heights of the series. I'm not as into the pirate stuff necessarily, but I do like the mystery of the package that's for Dick that we'll eventually see what it is later in the arc, I assume. And some of the action is fun, and obviously the art here is pretty solid. I miss Redondo, but it's absolutely a good fill-in to sort of complement that style.
Yeah, and it's Stephen Byrne too, who always works like with what was it? Who's the writer on Wonder Twins? Why am I drawing a blank?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on his name. It's great stuff. He also did the Flintstones, but the style here for the art almost kind of is trying to match Redondo, but it's also uniquely Stephen Byrne. So the fact that he's adapting to kind of fit the style of Nightwing, I appreciate. Because usually Stephen Byrne's art is very bubbly and rounded and soft edges. Here it had a little bit more of the straight lines and the darker lines. So, which I like, because it feels like Nightwing still.